Hello and welcome also from my side to the 2022 Forbes Women's Summit of Forbes DA deutschsprachige Ausgabe. My name is Klaus, I'm the editor-in-chief of the German language edition of Forbes and obviously not a superwoman, but I have the pleasure of talking to a few of them today. Two are joining me right now, Francine Brogyányi and Magdalena Nitsche of Dorda. Francine is managing partner, Magdalena is an attorney at law at Dorda, and the two of them spearhead the Women at Dorda initiative, where they try to make Dorda a little more diverse, a little more female maybe also. We ourselves have captioned this event with a few figures. 75% of CEOs are women worldwide. The 10 richest people in the world are female. Obviously, this is not the case. This is wishful thinking. But we thought it would be interesting to play with these numbers a little bit. You at Women at Dorda have also chosen a few numbers to sort of measure yourselves when it comes to goals, also some qualitative goals. Why did you say we have to reach this number? Because it also has potential for failure. Why did you put the bar so high?
Well, we started the program 2016, Women at Dorda, and it was actually an answer to a need we saw. We realized that a lot of women were leaving mid-level. So we had a hard look at ourselves, an honest look at ourselves, and there were two criteria we sort of crystallized that were important for that. There were not enough role models in the company, but also outside. And not enough flexibility for women. So that's also the point where we realized we will need a real culture shift in order to make Dorda more female, more diverse. And at that stage, we were at about a little bit under 50% associates, so entry level, and on mid-level, 25%. So our first step was to say, okay, the goal has to be, in the next 5 years, mid-level up to 50%, and now?
Yeah, we made this first step, so the mid-level, we reached parity at the attorney level. Yes, so this is a really big step for Dorda actually. And how did Dorda made it? Well, we offered very attractive part-time models, flexible working, and we offered it for men and women, attorney level and partner level. But the real game changer was you can stay in the part-time model for as long as you want, and you're not restricted in your career possibilities. So this was something very new, and yeah, still is a USP compared to other national but also international law firms.
Yeah, and now the next step is, of course, okay, to get our partner numbers up, female partner numbers up. So next 5 years, next step has to be 25%. Female partners, which says a lot about how little partners there are generally in the legal profession. But on the long run, of course, also here, parity has to be our goal and is our goal.
Do you have a sort of forecast when 50-50 might be possible? I mean, you're starting very low, but...
It's starting very low, but if I say, like in 5 years, 25%, I would hope in 10 years, 50%. I think that's very optimistic, but I'd like to hope that that's possible.
So you started, I'm not sure, 2016, 2015 with
2016.
Women at Dorda. Where do you, I mean, you look at the numbers, you say, okay, there is something to change. Where do you, like, what's the first step? Where do you start? And I mean, you already said there's some models that women are interested in. But what in the end makes it for women not only to join Dorda, but to climb the ranks, obviously? What are the key ingredients there?
The key ingredients is the culture that you have to change. I think it's now become believable through what we're doing, and that we're more women, and we've promoted more women into the mid-level, that we really want women to stay, that we really want women partners, and offer all possibilities that we can to keep women. But because we were talking about flexible hours and part-time models also for partners, actually in the firm more men than women do it at the moment. So that shows that there has been a culture change.
And this was quite unexpected, so nobody believed this. But what we saw is that more men have opted for a part-time model, and right now more and more partners also opt for such models. And yeah, you can see the change is happening, and you need this culture change to make a difference.
You yourself joined quite early in 2013, Dorda, and obviously you're together with Francine now working on the Women at Dorda campaign, amongst obviously other things. Yeah. What made the decision?
It would be a job you can do for
24
40, 50 hours.
I can imagine. But what for you was the decisive factor that you joined Dorda, and why did you then decide to join 4 years later, the Women at Dorda initiative?
Well, when I joined, there was no female program in place, so this was obviously not the decisive factor. But for me, Dorda back then was still a very modern and very attractive law firm for me. And I started quite young as a trainee, and this was for me a good opportunity to get to know the law firm and the people. And actually, I really like the people that are working there. And I think this was the decisive factor for me to stay at Dorda for such a long time. And the reason for me joining the Women Initiative was, I'd like to make a difference, and I would like to be part of the change that we are doing there.
You included these issues, diversity, and sort of encouraging women on your team into the partner reviews, also 360-degree partner reviews. Why? And was there resistance from your colleagues to that? Was this your decision, or did you make it in the, tell us a little bit about how that felt in the beginning.
Well, at the beginning, everything feels a little bit difficult because change, and that doesn't matter if it's men or women, people do not like change that much. So every change has to be very, very careful. But I had a bit of, it was a bit easier for me because I also initiated the partner review as such.
Okay.
And that makes it easier to say what the criteria is. And I thought and still think that diversity inclusion is something that is part of a very important part of leadership. So that's still part of our partner review, and it's part of your leadership skills.
There is sort of some go even beyond just including in a partner reviews. Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, actually ties bonuses, executive bonuses, to how they promote diversity, how they work with these things. This is obviously very tricky, but that's where it hurts. Is this something that you're actually thinking about at Dorda, or would this be destroying the system? What's your idea about this? Or do you think it's good at Microsoft, but maybe trickier at a law firm?
Yeah. I think it's tricky at a law firm because we usually only take financial KPIs for bonuses and no soft skills whatsoever. That's why we have the partner review on top to also put in soft skills, as they're called. But things can change, and maybe down the line that will also change, and our mindset to that will also change. I think there are initiatives that would help.
I mean, what you can do in a law firm is, if you have a man and a woman both qualifying for the next career step, the woman should get the job until parity is reached at the top level. This is something that Dorda already does. But it needs external factors. It needs financial impairments that you have if you cannot fulfill certain criteria. And what we see now is that our clients, which are the big national, international companies, they have set themselves diversity and inclusion criteria that they need to fulfill internally. They right now are looking for external lawyers. They mandate and they want that those external lawyers have the same standard. So they put pressure on the law firm to take this issue more seriously. And I think this will help in the short term, because when there's financial pressure, law firms usually take the topic serious.
We always do what the client wants, so that helps. And actually, I think every company out there already has criteria, because at the end of the day, every law firm and other firm, every executive is measured by economic success. That's the key factor. And every study out there shows that diversity and inclusion makes you more economically successful. So these criteria are already in place. It's just a matter of executives actually embracing what science already knows and can already prove.
We see with Dorda, with a few others, sort of more focus on branding, more focus on the name, on the logo, on sort of more going into the idea of a law firm where you actually compete with others. How important is this when trying to find the best talents, men or women, or is this just a nice to have? And
Well, I think it's very important, because the young generation, yeah, I mean, if you look at the current developments on the labor market, you see they have all the opportunities, so they can take the pick. And what the young talents do, they look very closely into the values that are conveyed by law firms. They look at the branding. They're looking for values, impact. They're looking for true leaders. They're looking for inspiration. So these are factors you need to show in your personal branding. And I think law firms, they can learn a lot from other industries when it comes to good branding. But I mean, branding is never enough. The branding should match the culture that the law firms live. So we primarily need a shift in the culture and then a matching branding.
Now you talked a lot about what the applicants are looking for, but maybe let's turn it around and see, apart from obviously legal expertise and grades, whatever, what is it you look for in new recruits? What is it beyond sort of the thing on paper? What do you want at Dorda to build the culture you're looking for?
Yeah, what we always say, what we're looking for is the interesting person. And I totally believe in that. I would never say it's about, having the best grades and studying the quickest. Life is so much more than that, because maybe your grades aren't so great, but you did a lot of work for NGOs or different things that made you a whole person and an interesting person. And experience shows the more interesting you are as a person, as more diverse your CV is, the more you have to offer. And being a lawyer in the long run has something to do with trust. So it's a lot about personality.
All right, we have a few minutes left. Let me check if my team already sent me a few questions from the audience. Seeing what our viewers might be interested in. How realistic is the depiction of lawyers in Hollywood movies? That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody thinks we live in suits.
Yeah.
We always have a good laugh because all their files are really thin and they only have one paper in there, so it's not that realistic when it comes to that. But otherwise, where it's sort of realistic is that to be a lawyer is high-paced, it's intellectually challenging. I always say it's like playing chess a little bit. So the interesting part, the high-paced part, the recognition, that is true. Yeah, that part of it is true, but the rest is, and we're unfortunately not all as well dressed as they are in suits.
But I mean, if you're thinking about the big law firms, you have this old picture, so this very conservative picture, the old men's club.
Absolutely.
So this is something we really want to change, and I think it's just not attractive anymore for the young generation, for the new talents. So yeah, I think the whole picture of law firms needs to change.
Another question was, I don't know if you have the numbers, but maybe to give an idea to our viewers, how many of your lawyers stay in part-time and for how long? So is this a temporary thing or do they go out completely?
Yeah, well, I can take myself as an example. I went part-time when I got my first child, which was 2009. And since then, I got a second child then too. I stayed part-time. But I became partner in the meantime. I became managing partner in the meantime, so that hasn't held me back.
So you became managing partner while you were part-time employee?
Yeah.
Right?
Not employee, but part-time.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Team member, or the team member.
So I intend on staying that way because it's the best fit for me, because I've got other projects in my life which I also like to do. Another colleague of mine, he had a father who was very sick, so he went part-time for 1 or 2 years, and now he's back to full. So it is very flexible. We've gotten used to living that way. At the beginning it was a huge change, but now it's not at all.
And at the mid-level, we have 50% doing part-time.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, you do not have to have kids
in the models.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you do not need to have a reason for this. So it's not down to children or family issues.
Some people just want to go on a mountain on a Friday afternoon, whatever.
But part-time also means everything less than 100%, right?
Everything less than 100%. Yeah. We've got a lot of people who only work 4 days a week. Yeah, because that fits better in their life.
All right, I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Francine and Magdalena, thank you so much for joining. Thank obviously also for the support of the entire campaign, and all the best with the, we hope you reach your numbers, but I think you're on a good track, so thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. We'll come back in 5 years and tell you.
Let's do it.
Thank you.